Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. JJ Redick gives brutally honest assessment of Lakers after 41-point loss to Heat. After the Lakers' 134-93 loss to the Miami Heat on Wednesday night, head coach JJ Redick seemed to be at a loss for words, until he wasn't. "There has to be some ownership," he said after a long pause when asked what his message is to his team after a loss like that. "When a group is not performing well, you can splinter and it's easy to not want the ownership, particularly when it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed, we're all embarrassed. It's not a game that I thought we had the right fight, the right professionalism. There has to be some ownership on the court," Redick continued. "And I'll take all the ownership in the world. This is my team and I lead it. I'm embarrassed, but I can't physically get us organized. I can't physically be the basketball. I can't physically talk and call out reads and call out coverages. And by the way, I'm not blaming players. I own this, but we need some ownership on the court as well. There's not a sense for me that we're together right now." The Lakers' loss, which was perfectly summed up by an embarrassing defensive possession in the third quarter, is their second in a row and their 10th of the 2024-25 season. Having now lost 6 of their last 8, LA will look to buck up as they head to Atlanta on Friday for a 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time tip-off versus the Hawks. Nearly 15 years later, it sounds like Miami Heat fans owe Paul Pierce for LeBron James taking his talents to South Beach. During a December 2 appearance on the Dan Le Batard show with Stugotz, Pierce implied he, and the late 2000s Boston Celtics as a whole, are responsible for James leaving the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2010. Boston knocked Cleveland out of the postseason in 2008 and 2010. Pierce made the comments when asked to compare the 2008 Celtics with this year's Celtics team. The 2008 Celtics defeated the Cavs in the Eastern Conference semifinals, before eventually knocking off the Los Angeles Lakers in the finals. "I've been known to break a few wills, sent some of them from Cleveland to Miami," Pierce said. Celtics fans may not want to hear Pierce take credit for potentially influencing James to team up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami. James and the Heat eliminated the Celtics from the 2011 and 2012 postseason. Miami also defeated Pierce's Brooklyn Nets in the 2014 Eastern semifinals. Pierce isn't the first member of the 2008 Celtics to suggest they're responsible for James signing with Miami. During a 2019 appearance on The Bill Simmons Show, Hall of Fame big man Kevin Garnett said the Celtics broke LeBron. "You understand how he got to Cleveland? How he got to Miami, Bill? You remember that?" Garnett told Simmons, adding, "We didn't give a F about LeBron. We didn't fear LeBron, and we didn't think he could beat all 5 of us." James won 2 titles with the Heat and reached the finals all 4 years he played in Miami. Garnett and Pierce only won 1 title with the Celtics before joining the Nets in 2013. So, who really won in the end? Sounds like Celtics and Heat fans have yet another thing to disagree on. Eric Spoelstra, Miami Heat could have benefited from LeBron James this summer. As an assistant for the United States Olympic team last summer, Miami Heat coach Eric Spoelstra noticed one of the few constants each morning in Paris. LeBron James was in the workout room every day at 6 a.m. Seeing James, 39, prepare like this at his age made Spoelstra wish the young Miami Heat players were there to witness. "I just wish I could have had all of our young players watch him in the team meeting," Spoelstra said. LeBron is not fatigued at all in terms of preparing and being involved, noticing all things on film, and you want players to see that. Spoelstra, who coached James in Miami from 2010 to 14, remains marveled at his approach to the game. James continues to play at a high level despite playing in season number 22. Spoelstra can only hope for half the effort from players like Kel'el Ware, Nikola Jovic and Jamie Jaquez when they hit the later years in their careers. His routine before in the weight room, Spoelstra said of James. He pretty consistently was the first one in the workout room every day, in Paris, just doing his routine, everything that's keeping him young, and then after practice. That team was star-studded in terms of post-practice routines, and they were all paying attention, seeing what everybody was doing. I wish I could have had our young players just come to 2 or 3 weeks of that just to see the routine. Count longtime NBA guard Lou Williams among those in favor of the Miami Heat trading Jimmy Butler. Speculation persists about Butler's future in Miami. The injury-plagued Heat are 9-10 and have struggled to stay consistent. Butler, 35, hits unrestricted free agency next summer. Should the Heat trade Butler? Or are they best served keeping him for one potential championship run with him, Tyler Herro, and Bam Adebayo? On the December 3rd episode of Run It Back, Williams said the Heat need to move on and part ways with Butler. If we're talking about this team having their moment and it running its course, obviously you give this a real, serious look to find somewhere for Jimmy, Williams said. Especially with him having a player option going into this summer. If you're going to make some new, different moves and go in a different direction, the time is now for the Miami Heat. Butler averages 18.9 points, 5.1 rebounds, and 4.8 assists. He turns 36 next September. Longtime NBA forward Chandler Parsons agreed with Williams. Jimmy Butler is a dog, Parsons said. He is a great player. You don't just trade him, but if he's just going to walk this summer and you lose him for nothing? Right, adios. Williams said he believes the current Heat group has run its course and must consider rebuilding. However, the 3-time Sixth Man of the Year also credited the team for trying everything to remain in the hunt. They've made every adjustment in the book that you can imagine to keep them competitive and keep them being contenders in the East, Williams opined. For whatever reason, it just looks like it's not translating this year. Miami Heat among favorites to land Pelicans All-Star after latest Zion Williamson news. The New Orleans Pelicans sit at the bottom of the Western Conference, roughly a fourth of the way through the regular season. This comes largely due to the continued absence of star Zion Williamson, among other factors. Despite Williamson's injury woes in his career, a recent report from ESPN's Shams Charania points to another All-Star being on the trade block. Right now, the Pelicans have no intention of waiving Zion Williamson, Charania said on the Pat McAfee show. Their number one objective is to get him back on the court and build the right support around him. This means forward Brandon Ingram, who is potentially on the Miami Heat's radar, is likely the star to see a change of scenery at February's trade deadline. The tandem of Williamson and Ingram is not panning out, which makes it rather obvious one was going to be dealt. Bovada named the Heat as the second most favored destination for Ingram, only trailing a reunion with the Los Angeles Lakers. Heat fans who reacted to the possibility of acquiring the 27-year-old had split opinions. Some were just excited by the idea of potentially moving on from guard Terry Rozier, while others pointed out the one-time All-Star does not address the biggest needs. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Zion Williamson? Leave your opinion in the comments.